It's Tanya Bridge Malone back with another YouTube video. So today it's like 62 or 63 degrees, which is better than what it was, but it is supposed to rain today. I'm not big up on that, but anyway, I'm going to get out of my truck, show y'all my fit. I stopped at Burger King, got me 3 burgers with no bun and a coffee like I do a lot of days. Probably not that healthy to be eating out, but half the stuff y'all eat in the store ain't healthy either. All those meats that people buy in the store, all the meats people buy, that ain't good for you either, so. Hard to stay away from stuff, but anyway, this shirt I've had for a while, but I'm going to show y'all my fit. If I can get out of the truck. Oh. Anyway, this is my Nike shirt. I didn't wear a beanie today. Probably should have, but I didn't. And so I wore this. I got a white beater. And these are my new underwear I got. I bag my shorts, so it is what it is. Nike socks and my Under Armour shoes. So that's my fit, y'all. But yeah. I got Juicy Couture underwear. I like those. I bag my clothes, y'all. It is what it is. I do what I want to do. I know. Some people say women bagging their clothes, showing their underwear. Well, they're boxer briefs. Well, women's, you know, sort of boys, or women's boyish underwear. You know what I mean? What they call them. They're women's underwear, obviously. But then was a pair of the underwear I got to go with this shirt. But anyway. Probably should have wore the lighter color. It would have matched better. But anyway. It is what it is. And this Nike shirt here, I got back when I was in a Mania episode. Way back there. I gave a lot of money for it. I need to probably iron it. Put it in the dryer. But yeah. It's pretty dope, and the hood's like real big. I like the shirt, and I haven't worn it in a while, so I wore it. But I've had this for a long time. Only wore it once or twice. Anyway, so today I'll give it time, let the Lord guide me when I'm to speak of. I always say that, I know. I did upload a freestyle. I went into Ross today. I did get a pickup. I know I shouldn't be spending money, but I only spent $25 in there. I got me a pair of shorts and a shirt. And I ain't picking up no shoes because I got shoes. They had a few new pairs of shoes in there. But honestly, there wasn't enough new stuff in there for me to keep showing y'all the same thing. You know what I mean? So I want to bring y'all new content, not the same stuff. So anyway, I got me a large vanilla iced coffee and 3 burgers with no bun. So I'm going to eat, obviously. And obviously, they didn't give me any napkins. I don't know why in the world these places don't give you napkins. Like, that's just common sense. You ought to know to put some napkins inside of the bag. But we'll do without. Hopefully I don't get nothing on my clothes. But anyway. Dear Heavenly Father, I ask you bless this food. Thank you for this day. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. And yeah, I'm going to eat on the video. I've ate these burgers many times on here, but it is what it is. But anyway. They're always good. $9.99 for 3 burgers and a coffee. I don't know. Guess it ain't too bad. It ain't the cheapest, but it ain't the highest either. Guess probably be all I eat today, or might eat me a protein drink. No, I don't put nothing. Y'all seen how I made my protein drinks? And I did upload a video last night, letting y'all know that I'm not entitled to any more short-term disability pay because I quit my job. It is what it is, you know. I asked the Burger King if they were hiring. I way home. I'm surprised a lot of these restaurants ain't hiring, but I guess whoever they hire is staying, I reckon. Big swig of my coffee. Pretty good. Coffee with these burgers are good. They are. Y'all have to try Burger King's burgers. I like them. Yeah. I still ain't made my mind up if I'm gonna file for disability or just look for a job. I don't know. I can't believe they don't give people napkins when they order food. And to be honest, I was online looking at different jobs that were available right now. But all of them require at least 40 to 50 pounds to be able to live. Oh. Them burgers are right. I need something to eat. Now, I'm smoking me a cigarette. I ain't had one since I left the house, and I've been gone for an hour or more. Like I said, I do have a small mini Ross haul here. I just got a shirt and a pair of shorts. It's an Adidas t-shirt and a pair of Tommy Hilfiger shorts. Got a whole outfit for $25, top and pants, or shorts. I'm sitting on about $676, probably about $650, $660 right now. That ain't bad though. I still got money left. One good thing I did do is pay my insurance up for the rest of the year, so I don't know any insurance, but I wouldn't mind having a job. I want to file for disability, but at the same time, I don't want to be without money, because I don't know. You know what I mean? It would be nice, you know what I mean, to have some money coming in. At least you got a paycheck every week or every 2 weeks or something, you know what I mean, where you're getting paid something. And plus, it gets really old just sitting around the house not doing anything. But I shoot my YouTube videos every day. That's why I say I'm trying to get my subscribers up to where I can get monetized and actually get paid for doing YouTube. You know what I mean? But I mean, that's all I can do. I'm steady out putting videos. There's some days I'm putting out 5 and 6 videos a day. I'm not editing them then. But I don't really see that I need to, you know. And those freestyles that you all see that I upload, the 4 or 5 that I have uploaded in the last week or so, they've all been the first take that I did them. I'm not going to leave the mistakes out. If I make a mistake, I make a mistake. I'm not going to hate on myself because I made a mistake or say I didn't stay completely on beat to the T. Because where I'm talking about, I'm trying to have leniency on myself. To understand that if I make a mistake, it's okay. Because we don't have to be perfect at what God called us to do to start doing what God called us to do. Because the only way you learn in life is to learn from your mistakes. Y'all know, here I am talking about what the Lord wants me to speak of, and I ain't showed the fit yet, but that's fine. Not a big deal. My channel ain't about just clothes and all that. My channel is about speaking of the Lord. And the Lord wants you to know that you don't have to be perfect at what He called you to do what He called you to do. You learn as you progress higher. You learn as you progress, and then you get higher. You get better. You know, because if you never put anything out, you're never going to pursue what He blessed you to do. So the way I'm doing it, Ben's, I don't have no money to be buying a beat and all this stuff. I just listen to a beat and try to freestyle over it. Hopefully I don't get in no trouble for that, but, you know, because the beat's not actually mine. I ain't paying for the beat, no. But the beat, I've seen many of people on YouTube videos, Instagram, all over TikTok, all social media platforms, freestyling over a beat. They ain't paying for that beat. They ain't no way they paid for that beat just to freestyle over it. I'm just listening to the beat and freestyling over the beat with my own lyrics and different things that I've wrote, you know. It's not a big deal. You know, I mean, it is what it is. Many of people do it. So you're telling me them people are taking that beat and they're paying for that beat because they ain't the one originally made that beat. But I'm not using that beat to put a song out or really to make any money off of. I'm not even monetized. I ain't making no money off this right now. But that don't mean later on down the road I won't. But I got a lot more subscribers I got to get monetized. You have to have... And y'all have to believe, man, YouTube's algorithm is crazy. You know what I mean? Because I know one person that some of their views should be more than what it is, and they've been a Christian rapper for 25 years, you know what I mean? And not putting them down or nothing, but the algorithm of YouTube's crazy, you know? I've not actually put out a full song before. I'm still waiting for K-Drama to send me the full beat of that song that I paid him to make, which that's okay. I'm not in no hurry. It's not a big deal, you know? So in the meanwhile, I'm just trying to listen to a beat, freestyle over it, and put it on my social media platform. I probably should be putting it on Instagram. I got a TikTok account, but I never hardly ever use TikTok, you know? And I know there's a lot of people that use all these social media platforms. I mean, you got TikTok, you got Instagram, you got Facebook, you got YouTube, you got probably maybe some other ones that I don't know of, you know. But, you know, usually I just try to share my stuff to people that I'm friends with on my Facebook. But I only got like 120 friends on my Facebook. I'm not one of these people that just accepts anybody as a friend on my social media platform, you know, like on my Facebook, because there's a lot of scammers and hackers and a lot of people, you know, and a lot of times what I want to tell y'all about that, which, you know, don't know if it's what the Lord wants me to tell you, but it probably is, you know. If you're already friends with somebody and you get a friend request from that person that you're already friends with, 9 times out of 10 that account's been hacked. Don't accept it. Because if you're already friends with somebody, you don't need to accept it again. Because 9 times out of 10, somebody's trying to hack their account. They're trying to use their pictures. You got to be careful with your pictures and stuff on social media too. Because there's a lot of people steady posting all these pictures about their life, where they're living and all this stuff. You got to watch that. Because there's a lot of hackers and spammers and rape pedophiles out here. There's a lot of child traffickers out here. You got to watch what your kids are doing on the internet. You know. You really got to watch out, because in this day, age, and time, you want to keep up with what your kids are doing. If they're playing Roblox online, I mean, you know, make sure that you're putting the parental controls on that stuff and setting stuff up. Make sure you know what your kids are doing, because you don't know who they're talking to if you're not keeping up with what they're doing, you know. And my kids raised, I would think he would have enough sense, because he plays games online, but he would have enough sense not to tell somebody where exactly he lives and his phone number and what his first and last name is. A lot of people don't need to tell that information. Kids, when they're online, even playing games. I mean, you got to watch out for they're everywhere. So, this is what the Lord wants me to speak of. Some of this stuff. And this is reality. This is reality of what we're facing in the United States, and that happens all over the globe. There are people out here trying to get kids. They're child traffickers. They're killers. They'll lure your kids in. You might find somebody on the street trying to lure your kid into a freaking car with offering to buy them a bicycle or offering to buy them a cake or an ice cream, anything to get them to come in the car. You want to teach your kids not to talk to strangers. In this day today, in today's age, in the society and all the things that's going on in the world, you want to teach your kids right. You want to bring them up right. You want to make sure you tell them, don't talk to strangers. Don't take gifts from strangers. If you don't know somebody, don't talk to them. They're not letting you teach your kids the right thing. Because we have to protect ourselves out here today. You know what I mean? We got to protect ourselves out here today, because in today's society, there's a lot of crazy things going on, and we have to protect our family members. We have to protect ourselves. God helps protect us too. If we have the holy spiritual gifts and we've been saved, he helps protect us, because he guides us, and he'll let us know in the pit of our stomach, or let us know when we walk into a situation. And even though we may not know exactly what it is, God's letting you know to leave there. And you leave there. When you get a feeling in the pit of your stomach and you know God's telling you you don't need to be somewhere, leave. Because we could get caught up in some messes if we don't listen to the Lord. The Lord wants us to listen with open eyes to see and open ears to listen to what he's truly has to say to us. You know what I mean? You don't want to be out here not telling you want to make sure if you have any young kids, any kids, no matter what age they are, I don't care if they're 20, 30, 40 years old living with you, whatever the case may be. I'm not judging the situation, because I'm 42 years old and I'm living with my parents. But I suffer with mental health issues. So I'm on medication and I'm doing fine right now, but I'm just saying, I've had a manic episode. I've had a couple depression episodes in my life. It hindered me from being able to keep jobs and stuff sometimes. That's the only reason why I had to file bankruptcy on my trailer. And y'all know my story. I've talked about it in my videos. There's a lot. And I felt so bad that I had to file bankruptcy because of my mental health issues. But I wasn't on the right medicine. I couldn't hold down a job at the time. And I had never had a mental health, never had, a breakdown like that before. I'd never had a manic episode before. That was my first one in my whole life. I was way overly stressed by many different factors in my life. And I had to file bankruptcy because of it. In a relationship I was in, that I felt like I had to be around this person 24/7 because I couldn't trust them and I needed to leave them, and it was hard for me to leave them. That's why I talk so much about you all staying out of toxic relationships, because I've been there, I know. And if you suffer with a mental health issue, that makes it harder for you to leave, because you're probably prone to pick some toxic relationships, especially if you have bipolar. Because I've been going to a counselor for months. For the last 2.5 years, I've been going to a counselor, and she told me that I am prone, because I have bipolar. People who with mental illness, sometimes they're prone to picking toxic relationships. We deal with self-esteem issues. Even people who don't have mental illness can suffer with self-esteem issues. If you're trying to base your life around people's opinions of you, it does not matter. I don't have a whole lot of friends in my life. I got one girl that I go to church with, and a lady that does my hair. They used to do my hair for 20-some years. And, she's my friend, but it ain't like I hang out with these people and go out to eat with them, you know what I mean? I mean, now my friend from church, she asked me out to eat, but, these people have wives, they got husbands, you know what I mean? They got families, they got grandchildren and kids, and, my kid's grown. He's got a job, I mean, I see my son, but I mean, he's 21 years old. So when kids get to be a certain age, a lot of times, he'll ask me to go down the road to eat with him every once in a while and stuff like that. But, I mean, as far as us doing a lot of stuff together, we don't, because he's older. He hangs out. He's got 4 or 5 friends he hangs around when he's off and stuff like that. We talk and stuff. But like I said, me and my son were close. But, You know, he's older. He's not young. When they're young is when you want to spend the most time with them, because when they grow up, a lot of times they don't want to spend time with you because they got friends and stuff they want to go do stuff with, you know. That's why if you have kids, spend as much time with them as you can when they're little, because when they grow up, they'll make their own friends and stuff, and you ain't gonna have as much time with them as you did when they was little. Because when they're little is when they look up to you, and they still do even when they get older. When they get older, sometimes kids want to rebel against their parents, especially if you're a single parent. They do. I know, I've been through it, y'all. I've been through it. But I love my son to death. But what I'm saying is, now that he's older, he's got his own friends. You know, he's not young no more. You know, kids grow up, they make friends, they go hang out with them when they're off. And I see all these people, you know, what 2 or 3 friends I do have. I got a friend who suffers with mental health issues. You know, I don't know what it is. He don't seek his self-help, but I'm not going to mention his name. But he ain't had a job for 7 or 8 months, you know. Do I worry over him? A little bit I do, but, you know, he won't invite the Lord into his life because he don't really believe in God. He claims to be an atheist, so I don't know. I mean, you know, you can't, you know, I go over there and talk to him every once in a while. I try to be an advocate for people with mental health issues because I deal with it myself. I've been through depression. I've been through mania, and I pray to God I never go through it again, and I don't believe I will. You know, because I'm on medication, I'm seeking my self-help, you know. Right now I don't have insurance, but I don't worry about it. If I have to go to the doctor, Primary Plus ain't going to refuse me to go to the doctor if I don't have insurance, but it's going to be a heck of a bill. It's like $220 to see a psychiatrist by the time they send you that bill. But I probably will Monday apply for a medical card. Probably next week sometime I'm going to try to apply for a medical card. But yeah, I mean, you know, there's people all around that you may think you don't have any friends. I got one person that I worked with at Serpentine that I stay in contact with, and he's a guy. He's a nice person, and I'm friends with him. But that's it. You know, but I don't hang out with him, you know what I mean? I'll send him a text, ask him how he's doing, you know, stuff like that. I still talk to him. But he's the only person I still talk to that I worked with there, because he was my lead, basically. He was the lead over the line I was on. And he was a nice person, and, you know, and stuff like that. But, you know, we talk on Messenger every once in a while. But other than that, I mean, as far as me hanging out with somebody, like my son's got friends he hangs out with, you know what I mean? You know, some of them drink, you know, but my son don't drink, you know. But I don't get into alcohol and all that. I've drunk before in my life. Yes, I have. I'm not going to sit here and say that I haven't. But anyway, y'all, for now, I'm going to show you my cop real quick. Just know that the Lord loves you no matter what you're trying to overcome right now, because many people are going through struggles right now and having hurdles they have to overcome. But just know that if you have the Lord in your life, He will guide you where you're to go. And it may seem like there's no way out, but there is a way out. Trust me, there is a way. He is the way. He leads the way. So anyway, this shirt here is an Adidas shirt. It is kind of thin, because it's a silky material. It is an Adidas shirt. The original price was $35. At least that's what it says. And I got it for $10.99. It is a large in the women's. I think it's a large, yeah. And it's got red, it's got yellow, it's got red. It says World Run. I don't know if that means it's a running shirt. I don't know. But either or. It's Adidas, and it's a large in the women's. Nothing fancy about it. But it's got all the colors in it. That I kind of like the yellow, because I don't really have any shirts that's yellow, you know. So when I pick up something, I'm trying to pick up something different that I don't already have. These are a size 16 in the bigger boys youth section. Bigger boys youth section. They're a 16 in the youth boys section. These are Tommy Hilfiger. They got the Tommy Hilfiger right here. The Tommy Hilfiger little logo on the pocket. This pocket. And as you can see, this has white and red. And this has yellow, red, and navy blue. And you might as well say the navy blue pretty much matches the jean color that's on these shorts. And it's got 2 pockets on the side, you know what I mean? 2 pockets. They're fairly deep pockets. These were originally $49.50. I got them for $12.99. Now, tell me where you're going to go and get this brand name stuff for less than $25. Now, you might, at some point, inside of Ross or Marshall's or Burlington Coat Factory or TJ Maxx. There's a lot of different stores, but we only have a Ross and a Marshalls here. We don't have a Burlington Coat Factory, and we don't have a TJ Maxx. And I'm sure there's other discounted stores, but I don't have any in my town other than Ross and Marshalls. But I like Ross the best, and I do like Marshalls too, because every once in a while you can find some decent clothes in Marshalls. And way back there, I got I wore them the other day, day before last, a pair of pants that I had bought from there for $20, and they were Levi's. I got them for $20. And they weren't really thin, and I liked them. It had the big red tab on the back with Levi's. I had never seen a pair like them, and I really liked them. They fitted me good. And they were a 31 in the men's, but they were a slim, skinny jean. But I really liked them, and they... Probably one of the only pairs of pants that actually fit me halfway decent compared to some others, because I've lost 15 pounds over the course of 9 or 10 months. But I thought that was a pretty good deal for a pair of Tommy Hilfiger shorts, jean shorts for $12.99. That was originally almost $50. I got for $12.99, and a shirt that was originally $35 I got for $10.99. That's a good deal. That shirt didn't have a hole in it, because when I went up and paid for it, it had one of them big plastic things on it. A lot of the clothes in Ross have them big plastic things on them because they're trying to keep people from stealing stuff. So, when I went up to the register, I told her, I said, make sure that when you take that big plastic thing off there, that there's no hole in the back of that shirt. I said, because I'm not paying for a shirt and have to take it. I didn't want to have to bring it back in if, say, it had a hole in it. Because that's what happened to me with that pink Nike shirt that I picked up the other day. And I really liked that shirt. You know, and I really wanted it. It was only $15. But it had a hole in the back of it. And I didn't ask her to check it. But from here on out, when I go up there and there's something big plastic on a shirt that's thin, especially if it's thin, t-shirt material's thin anyway, I don't care what you say. And I told her, I said, make sure that when you take that off, that you check to make sure there's no hole in that, because if there is, I don't want it. And that's exactly what I told her. And the people that work in this Ross store, it's not their fault, because the tags come in. When they get the clothes in, the tags are already put on there. So the people that work in there, that's not their fault. But, you know, if people didn't go in the stores and steal and stuff, then they wouldn't have to put that type of stuff on there. But, you know, it is what it is when people want to thieve. So, that outfit is dope. I don't have any shoes with yellow that I can think off the top of my head. I don't really have any shoes. I don't even know if I have any shoes with red in them. But one thing I do know is I've got 2 pairs of all white Nike shoes that are all leather that I can wear with that fit. White matches anything. White matches anything. You know. And I've got 3 or 4 pairs between boots and shoes of green, olive green to regular green shoes. Which that's good, because I have, you know, it is what it is. So, I do have a pair of shoes to match it. I may not have a pair of shoes with red in it or yellow in it, but I still have a pair of shoes that will match. I have 2 pairs of shoes that will match that fit. And I've got a pair of all black Jordan Lows that I got on sale way back there. I've never even worn them. They're all leather black with a little bit of gold on them. That would match that. That would match that perfectly, because there is yellow in the shoe and black in the shoe. I've got shoes to match about any fit that I put together. That's the reason why I stopped buying shoes. I have stopped buying shoes because I only got $660-some left in my account. I can't be buying shoes all the time. If I find something like that on sale, but, you know, like I said, I'm trying to conserve on my money. I'm trying to watch what I spend, because I don't need to be buying any more shoes. I don't need any more shoes. Now, shorts I can use, t-shirts I can use, because I don't have a lot of t-shirts and a lot of shorts. I got 5 or 6 pairs of jean shorts, and maybe 3 or 4 pairs, and I've got several basketball shorts, but not as many as I had, because I got rid of a lot of stuff I had, so I can make room in my closet for what new things I bought. Because I had a lot of things that I wasn't wearing, and I got rid of them. So, that's what I wanted to say. You know, you all can look fly, like I always tell y'all. I would have done a Ross review, but there wasn't that many new things in there in the shoe section or anything really to show. And there's no point in me showing you the same stuff every day if there's nothing new in there. So, You know, just letting y'all know that, you know, sometimes you can go into Ross every day and you're going to find something new. But if you don't find enough new stuff and you don't think it's, I mean, I could have showed you that fit that I was getting, you know, but I figured what's the point in doing that? There's really nothing all that new in there. But those two things were new. I didn't see them yesterday. I go into Ross every day. Now that I'm not working, I go in there every day, even if I don't buy nothing, just to shoot some stuff to see if there's anything new for me to show you all in the store. Because I'm sure a lot of you all have a Ross around you somewhere. But every Ross don't carry the same stuff probably. It depends on what location you're in and what they get and what they don't get. But our Ross gets some really good stuff. And mostly, you know, a lot of people are looking for Jordans in Ross. Anybody who's a shoe collector, they're looking for Jordans in Ross. And you may find some good heat this year. But I'm not a real big fan of the Jordan 2s. They're all right, but I bought 2 of them for $55 way back there. I told y'all I took them down to the Hands of Hope, and I did. What I should have done is recorded me taking the stuff down to the Hands of Hope. That's what I'll do the next time if there's anything else I get rid of. And out of all the shoes I had in the back of this car, between 2 days in a row, I got rid of about probably 12 or 13 pairs of tennis shoes. And a lot of them were brand new with the tags on them I had never even worn. And I'm not real big. I like Jordan brand stuff. I like Jordan brand clothes more than I like Jordan brand shoes, because a lot of Jordan brand shoes are the same silhouette, the same, just a different color. Is all it is. Same silhouette, just different color. And what I have told you all many a times, if you're somebody out there who's got a kid who likes to dress fresh, you know, go into Ross and see if you can find any kind of shoes that's cheaper priced than what you're paying full price for. Your kids don't have to have the latest Jordan. They don't have to have the latest outfit. They don't have to have it. If you are living off a budget, don't take money away from paying your bills to freaking buy your kids something that they feel like they have to have. When they grow up and get a job and can afford to do that, then they can buy what they want to buy. But while you're paying for their school clothes, while you're paying for their school shoes, while you're paying for whatever it is that they need, you tell them you're getting what you can afford because you have bills to pay. Maybe you might want to raise your kids up and teach them the value of $1. But you might want to teach them that, because it's hard, even for us grown-ups, it's hard for us to save money. Especially when you go in stores all the time, you're spending money. I struggle with that. But if I had bills, I wouldn't be out here spending money. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be out here spending money I didn't have. I really shouldn't be spending what money I have, but I like to have something to show you all, but I like clothes and shoes. That's an addiction I have, but if I lived on my own, I'd be paying my bills what I owed. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be out here spending it on clothes. One of the good things you can do is teach your kids the value of $1. Because when they get out there and they have to work for what they want, they may not want to pay $200 and $300 for a pair of Jordans if you have kids who like those type of shoes. I always talk about Ross Dress for Less, and I always talk about Marshalls, and there's TJ Maxx carries the same type of stuff. Burlington Coat Factory does, but I know there's some probably other stores who are discounting prices. There's probably Nike outlets. There's Nike outlets around too where you can find shoes for cheap. But just remember, if you buy shoes in the Nike outlet and you decide you want to bring them back, I don't think they'll give you your money back. They are sold as is. And the reason I say that is, the only reason I know that is because I've seen people who's done shoe reviews only out of Nike outlets trying to find deals on shoes. A lot of people don't want to give full price for Jordan shoes, so they wait for them to go to a Nike outlet. But the closest Nike outlet around me is 2.5 hours away. So I haven't been to a Nike outlet in forever, and I don't usually leave my town very often for anything, because I don't have gas to drive real far distance right now. But what I'm telling y'all is, there is other places, depending on where you live, that you can shop at for your kids' school clothes and school shoes, even stuff for yourself, that if you're on a budget, you don't have to pay full price for stuff. You don't know. You may think, well, Ross don't have much. They just get whatever people don't want. Not necessarily. Think about it, y'all. Jordan shoes are Jordan brand, Nike, Puma, Adidas, all these different brands that they carry. They're all. Some people will say, "Oh, that ain't real. That ain't real. That's fake." No, it ain't. Do you understand that in the United States, wherever we get our stuff from, it is mass produced? We are a throwaway society. Do you all not know that a lot of these stores, what they don't sell in the store, they mark it down so far to when they still don't sell it, they just throw it in a trash can probably. And they write it off as a tax write-off at the end of the year when businesses file their taxes. Instead of giving it to somebody like the homeless who could use it, they just throw it in the trash can, write it as a tax write-off. This is what our society does. Do you all not know that? Do you all ever watch any YouTube or social media platforms that people do dumpster diving? I'm for real. There's people that do, and they find a lot of stuff that could go to the homeless, but they just throw it away. And I see a lot of people doing shoe reviews in Ross, showing them what new stuff they have, which that's what I do every once in a while. But to do it every day, if they don't have anything new, there's no point in me showing you the same content I've already showed. And when I go in the men's section and look at the shoes, I don't usually show y'all the big, because I've seen social media platforms where people who showing Ross shoes are showing size 18 and 17. I don't even bother to show them shoes because most people can't wear that size. That's not a common shoe size for a man. There might be, and I'm sure there's people out here that do wear that shoe size, but most people are not that big. Most people don't wear a 17, 15, and 18 in a shoe. That's very rare, so I don't show them. I show the ones that are in like size 12, 13, on down to size 8. Just like I told you all, they got 2 Jordan shoes in there and about a size 8 that are Jordan 2 lows, 2 different colorways. They're still both $74.99. They're not going to sell. They're not going to sell for that. I guarantee you, they've sat there for 2 weeks, nobody's bought them. And if the longer they sit there, they're going to mark it down. I'm not paying $75 for that shoe. I'd like to have it, but I don't need it. And I'm not paying $75 for that shoe. I'm not paying it. Because it's not worth that. We're talking about Ross, and some of them shoes in there they got for $80 and $90, they ain't worth that. They ain't worth that. Now, if they're 40, 50, now the most I've really ever gave for a pair of shoes in Ross was $60, whatever the tax was on that. That's the most I've ever gave for a pair of shoes in there. But I have to like them. But it was never a Jordan that I gave $60-some for. It never was. It was a Nike shoe. I like the Nike running shoes. They are very comfortable. I don't like shoes that are not comfortable. And Jordan 2s are not uncomfortable. They may be, depending on what kind of feet, because everybody's feet are made different. Some people's are wide, some people's narrow. I mean, all shoes may not fit people the same. Jordan 2s may hurt some people's feet, because all our feet are not made the same, right? We all don't operate the same. But the reason I think those Jordan 2, the size 8s in the men's over there is going to sit is because there's not a whole lot of men that wear a size 8. I don't wear a size 8 in the men's. It depends. I can. It depends on how the shoe's made and how it fits. Because all shoes are not true to size. All pants are not true to size. All shorts and shirts are not true to size. They're all made different. That's why you have to try stuff on before you buy it. You know what I mean? Y'all know, y'all women out here, y'all know that all pants don't fit the same. Every woman's shaped differently. We ain't all shaped the same. That's why all brands don't fit us the same. What one brand may fit one woman perfectly and make her look like she's got a butt and has a good figure, it may not be for all women. That brand may not fit another woman the same. Me, I'm skinny, so it's hard for me to find stuff to fit me when it comes to fitting me exactly to the T. So mainly, when I buy stuff in Ross, a lot of it don't fit me just to the T. It's a little baggy. But I have lower back issues in my lower lumbar spine, so that's the reason why I don't buy stuff just to fit me, and it's just so tight I can't breathe. I don't like my clothes like that. I like my clothes to be a little baggy. That don't mean falling off my butt, but it means I like to bag my shorts a little bit. I like to bag my pants a little bit. I don't want my pants so tight I can't breathe. I don't like that because it hurts my lower back. Some people on here think, well, you buy a lot of men's clothes, you buy a lot of men's shoes. Who cares? There's men that wear Jordan women's shoes. Know what I mean? When you go into Ross and you find a size 12 Jordan shoe, and you know most women, that ain't no common shoe size for a woman. Most women ain't wearing a size 12. But, think about it. That's a size 10.5 in the men's. Hey, right? You know, clothes are clothes. People judge people by what they wear. You know, I don't wear men's underwear. I wear bras. I wear women's underwear, women's bras, women's socks. I wear men. I go in the men's section and buy Nike socks and Adidas socks. What makes a difference? They're just socks. They don't look no different than if they were in the women's section. It don't matter. They're just socks. A shoe is just a shoe. Now, if you're going to wear, I mean, it just depends. You know, but I'm not a real big person who likes to wear dresses. I'm not a real big person that's big on dressing up and all these fancy dresses and stuff. I don't feel comfortable in a dress. I dress the way I want to dress. You know, I ain't trying to impress nobody. I'm trying to dress the way I dress, and my fashion is you know, sporty clothes. Sporty. Comfortable clothes. I don't like being in all these dresses and all this stuff. I'm a tomboy. I am, but I'm not. And I'm not gay. I'm not lesbian. And I say that on my channel because there's probably people out there who probably think, well, why is she buying all... You know, but I don't worry about what people think of me. I do what I want to do. These shorts I got on are women's shorts. This shirt I got on is a woman's shirt. My bra underneath, it's a woman's bra. The shirt underneath, spaghetti strap shirt, it's a woman's shirt. The socks I got on are men's socks. The shoes I got on are women's shoes. You can't hardly tell the difference. And like, some people will say, this is what gets me go crazy. And not go crazy, but this is what, you know, some people say, oh, men don't need to wear the color pink. It's just a color. Who says what color's for a man and what color's for a woman? You know what I mean? You got people out here. God says there's people out here that will try to put people in a box and say what they can wear and what they can't wear. God don't care if you wear a man's pair of shorts. Now, if you're going out here being lesbian and gay and trying to be a man, that's different. But I wear men's clothes sometimes, but I wear a lot of women's clothes. I'm not out here wearing men's undergarments. You know what I mean? Like, literally. Yeah, I know, I don't pack a purse. But I don't like packing a purse around. Because if I forget it, there's been times I've always carry a wallet around. My mom says, Tanya, and there's been many a times I've left my wallet inside of Walmart somewhere. Because I've laid it down and was looking at an item, and I laid it down and walked off, and I walked back and I found it. Many a times that's happened to me. But there's been many a times in my younger years that I packed a purse and I left it in a gas station one time when I was like 18 or 19 years old. Luckily, when I went back to that gas station, my purse was still there. So if I carry a purse, I make sure it's a backpack purse. And it's a woman's purse. I have one purse. If I use it, that's the kind I use. Because if I have one on the side of my shoulders, usually I set it down somewhere. And so, yeah, but me, the way I look at it, everybody spends their money on what they want to spend their money on. You know what I mean? Some people like purses. I like women's wallets. I don't buy men's wallets. I says, this is a woman's wallet. This looks nothing like a man's wallet. I pack this wallet in my jacket pocket, or whatever pocket I have, not my back pocket, like a man would do. I carry it on me. I'll hold it in my hand. Or if I got a jacket on, I'll put it in my jacket pocket. This is a woman's wallet. Just because I don't carry a purse don't make me gay or lesbian. I don't know why I'm speaking to this, but I don't know. People may think things that they shouldn't think. Because I am a woman. I don't want to be a man. I just dress the way I want to dress. And I do like this wallet. And if I buy a wallet, it's never a man's wallet, and I don't carry it in my back pocket. I carry it in my front pocket, or I'll carry it in, you know, if I got this on or I got a jacket on, I'll put it in my pocket. Because the reason I do that is because I don't see why. I mean, there's so many people out here spend $200 and $300 on purses. There is women out here, I know people do it because my mom's done it. $300 and $400 on a purse that they may use once a year. And this wallet right here, you can get all kinds of name brand wallets inside of Ross for $10, $15, $20, depending on how big it is. This cost me $10, $11. My wallet. I like it. I got 3 different wallets. If I want to change out my wallets, it's cheaper to buy a wallet than it is to buy a freaking purse. But you will carry a purse if you have... The pros of carrying a purse is if you have a checkbook, you can carry your checkbook in there. I don't carry a checkbook. I have no checks on my checking account. And I would, if I lived out on my own, I probably would, because I would have other bills to pay that require me to either pay it over the phone or write a check. But me, when I had my own place, I paid my bills over the phone. Most of them. Some of them I sent in the mail, but most of them I paid over the phone. Because the mail can be deceiving. Basically, people who are delivering your mail, you don't know if they're going to get it to where it needs to go. Because a lot of times, even if you order packages, sometimes it don't get to your house. It gets lost in the mail, or they leave it at somebody else's doorstep. So that's the reason why I would rather pay, when I had bills to pay, I'd rather pay them over the phone. Or if the location was close enough for me to go pay it in person, then I would go pay it in person. That way I know it got paid. You know what I mean? And when you're using a debit card, it automatically comes out of your checking account. You ain't got to wait 10, 15 days or however long it takes for that check to get to the place where it's supposed to go, and then you got to wait for them to cash it. And it takes forever to clear the bank. That's the reason why I don't like writing checks. So, you know, but there is times that a person has to write checks. I understand that. But I carry a wallet, and I carry this wallet because I like wallets better than I do. It's cheaper for me to buy a wallet, and I don't carry a bunch of stuff around on me. I carry my cell phone in my pocket. I carry my headphones. I keep them on my head, and I don't need a freaking purse. You know what I mean? Not always. Sometimes I'll carry the purse I have and I put it on my back, and that way I don't forget it. But yeah, I like wallets, and they're women's wallets. It's cheaper to buy a woman's wallet than it is to buy a whole purse. And depending on what kind of purses you're buying, for that matter. But anyway, that was just something I wanted to speak about. I don't know why, but it just came to mind, so I spoke of it. I'm different than a lot of girls. I'm not all up about hype or having to spend all this extra money on purses. I probably spend the money on shoes and clothes before I would do that. Because everybody's got something they spend their money on. Something that they like, that they spend more money on than they probably should. We're girls. Girls like clothes. Girls like shoes. Girls like purses. Girls like wallets. Girls like getting their hair done. Girls like wearing makeup, you know. I don't wear makeup very often because I don't feel like I need to. I don't have a bunch of face broke out. So, I mean, and a lot of men don't care about all that caked on makeup that you wear. You know what I mean? If you have a good complexion and you drink plenty of water and you're trying to take care of your body, you know what I mean, then you shouldn't have a bunch of breakouts. You know what I mean? But some people, depending on it, just depends. But I don't suffer with all that, so I don't need to wear makeup. This is who I am. I have no makeup on. This is what I look like. If every time if you're out here dating and you're throwing on a bunch of makeup, and no offense to people who wear makeup, because I know a lot of people who do, but me, I don't need it. I'm not ugly. I'm not embarrassed of what my face looks like or what my body looks like. I wear what I want to wear, and I'm myself. I'm who I am. I stay true to who I am. I wrote that in my lyrics. And that's the way it is. So, I don't worry about what people think of me. Even though some people on here may think I do, but I don't. I don't care what people think of me. They either like me or they don't. But, yeah, I'm not into spending all my money on purses. I'm not. But no offense to people who do, because there are a lot of nice purses out there. But if you're going to spend $300 or $400 on a purse and you're only carrying it once or twice a year, did you really get your $300 or $400 worth out of that purse? You know? I mean, I don't know. Well, like I said, everybody has something they spend their money on. Everybody does. Everybody spends their money on something. It is what it is. I mean, you know, I don't wear clothes that show every shape of my body to the T. I've got some pants at home that do, but I'd rather be comfortable in what I'm wearing. I'm not dating anybody, so I ain't trying to impress nobody. This is who I am. And, you know, and what I will say is a lot of men don't like women to wear all that caked on makeup, because some of them don't even know how to wear it. Some women, I'm not being down about, and I'm not saying this is anybody on my YouTube channel, but some people don't know how to wear makeup. They wear makeup, make it look like a clown. Take that frown, turn it upside down. Whatever. What I'm trying to tell y'all is if you're not wearing your makeup to where it looks like you don't, when you wear makeup, you don't want it to look like you're actually wearing it. You know what I mean? Because if you wear all this thick caked on makeup and you're putting all this rouge on your face and you look like a clown, some people out here looking like a clown. They don't know how to wear their makeup. You know what I mean? And I don't wear makeup because, for one, it's expensive. I've got makeup at home because my mom's always buying makeup. She always gives me makeup. But the thing of it is, I rarely ever wear it. You know, because I don't see the necessary need to do it. You know. I mean, because my complexion is not bad. So sometimes a man would rather see what you really look like naturally than for you to have all that caked on makeup on. Not every man wants to see women with all this caked on makeup on. They want to know what you look like underneath all that. You gotta love who you are. You can't keep covering up your face, and then this goes into what God's telling me, you cover up the scars. You gotta love who you are. And when you can walk around with no makeup on, that shows who you really are. You ain't trying to be somebody you're not. You don't need to cover up who you are. People need to love you for who you are, not just looks, and they don't know what you really look like because you're walking around with all this makeup on. You don't need it. But no offense to people who wear makeup, but I don't feel like I need to wear it. My face is clear. I don't need to wear makeup. Plus, it ain't good for your skin. But anyway, that's just what I think. I'm not being mean or biased towards anybody who wears makeup, because every once in a while I do wear makeup. But it don't look like I got makeup on other than I have lipstick or eyeshadow on. Too much makeup just makes people look like a clown when they don't wear it right. Because some people don't know how to wear makeup. I know they don't, because I've seen many people. And you know, but you dress how you want to dress, you do what you want to do, but that don't mean that it attracts a man. They all don't want to see you with makeup on all the time. They want to see what you really look like. Because you know, if you go every day wearing makeup every single day, and then when you go to wash that off at night, you look in the mirror and you're looking at a face that most people don't even know what you really look like, because you're always covered up with makeup. And I think if you don't wear makeup, that shows that you really love yourself, and shows that you're not afraid to show people who you truly are. That you love yourself enough to not have to cover up nothing. We can't cover up the scars of our past. That's why I'm forthcoming like I am. And it is what it is. I'm just speaking truth. Some of us need to learn to stay true to who we are. To quit trying to cover up them scars of your past mistakes. You can't cover them up. There's no need to cover them up. Because whatever you've been through, it is what it is. You're still here alive today to speak of it. And you can be a walking testimony for the Lord. Don't be afraid to show who you really are. Just like when I talk about you caking your face up with makeup, you don't have to be afraid to show who you are. God wants you to love yourself for who you are. Because He loves you. So you should love yourself. Any mistake you've ever made, don't bask in it. Because Christ is forgiven. If you've asked Christ into your heart, He's forgiven you once and for all mistakes you've made. If you want to use your past mistakes to use it as leverage to be a walking testimony for the Lord and to guide people the right way to go, and so you don't want them to go through the same mistakes you've made, you don't want them to go through that again. I'm a walking testimony with the stuff I've been through. You know, like that last relationship I was in, it lasted 3.5 years. It took me forever to let it go. But I see people out here, I beat myself up for staying in a relationship for 3.5 years that I knew wasn't right for me. It took me so long to break away or break free from. But then when I finally did, I'm free, man. I'm free. I was free when Christ set me free, when He saved me at the age of 12. But when you're in a toxic relationship, it makes you feel like you were bounded to the ground, like you cannot go. It's either sink or swim. And when I was in that relationship, it felt like I was sinking. Because I drained my energy plumb dry for this person who was not pouring back into my cup. Why you think I talk about you, trying to teach you all to stay out of toxic relationships? Because I know what I went through. But what I'm trying to say is I was my own worst critic. I beat myself down more than anybody else did. Because I stayed in that relationship for 3.5 years. And then I look out here and I learned to have leniency on myself. I learned to have to forgive myself, because this is the thing God wants me to speak of. The hardest person to forgive is yourself. For the mistakes that you've made, the hardest thing for you all to do is forgive yourself. We talk about, I've talked about forgiving other people for yourself, to move on so you don't have hate in your heart and don't hold a grudge. But what I didn't speak of is sometimes the hardest person to forgive is ourselves. When we've made mistakes, it's hard for us to forgive ourselves. It is for me anyway. I have learned to have leniency on myself. To know that even if I make a mistake, God still loves me and it's okay. Don't beat yourself down on a daily basis. God said there's people out here beating themselves down on a daily basis because they've made mistakes. And it's happened so many years ago, and every mistake you make, you beat yourself up. But God said it is okay. He has forgiven you once and for all when you asked Him into your heart. He knew you wasn't going to be perfect. That's why He had to give Christ, His only Son Christ on the cross. That's why we have to be open-minded and have a little bit of leniency on yourself, y'all. Because we beat ourselves down worse than anybody else does. Some people do. I know I have. And like I say, I cannot speak for all people, but when it comes to me, that is what I do. And I have to learn to give myself leniency. As this 2 years that I have grown, in the 2 years that I have been single and in my healing process, I have learned these things along the way. Sometimes when you're in a toxic relationship, it's hard for you to break free, but when you're actually set free from that toxic relationship, once you have finally let it go, you see how silly you were to put up with what you put up with. And then that's when you start to grow. That's when you look back on it and you think how stupid I was. And y'all, it's getting a little hot, so I gotta take this sweatshirt off. I got me a sleeper shirt on. Yeah, I got a little hot. But that's what I'm trying to tell y'all, you know. I'm trying to tell y'all that sometimes we have to learn to forgive ourselves. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's what we deal with. That's what we suffer with, is that we beat ourselves down on a daily. You have to learn to give yourself leniency. Now, I know I'm speaking to somebody out here who's probably even on my YouTube channel that is hearing this, and that is dealing with this at this current time, or if any time in your life that you have. Because many of us do this. We are human. We are flawed. We are not perfect. And we're going to make mistakes. We're bound to make mistakes. But that don't mean we need to hold yourself accountable for the choices you make, but you have to learn to forgive yourself. And sometimes that's the hardest thing to do. That's what God has wanted me to speak of. Because I have dealt with this in my life. And it's sad when we do that. It is. Because we listen to every negative thing around us. Other people telling us you need to do. If they see you in a relationship or something and they tell you you need to get out of it, and you continue to deal with it and you continue to complain about it, but you're not doing nothing about it, some people will get tired of listening to the same stuff. Because you're not taking no accountability for what you were dealing with. You complain about what you're dealing with, but what I meant to say is when I said I held myself accountable, but I also beat myself up over it for staying in that relationship for 3.5 years knowing it wasn't best for me. But then, once I got out of it and I'm in my healing process, I look back and I think how stupid I was to put up with that. But then I also think to myself, I see a lot of other people out here in relationships that are toxic and that they are dealing with it and they've been with them for 20-some years. So then I think to myself, well, this person has dealt with this for how many years, but they're not trying to break free from it. But I got out of mine in 3.5 years. I finally let it go. There's people out here putting up with stuff for more years than what you are. Be glad you finally set free from it. Don't hold yourself so bounded. You're not bounded by the law, so you don't want to hold yourself under condemnation. And what I mean by that is that in the Old Testament, the 10 Commandments were wrote by Moses, guided by the Lord to Moses for him to write. We were bounded by the law in the Old Testament, but even in today's day and age, a lot of people have theirself bounded to that law when they keep not forgiving theirself. When you don't forgive yourself for the things that you have done, even though you're progressively moving forward and you're still holding yourself under condemnation, when you will not forgive yourself, that's what I'm trying to tell you. We are not bounded by the Moses law. We are not bounded by the law no more. Christ gave his life on the cross, so that is the new covenant. So when we do that, we hold ourselves under condemnation when we will not forgive ourselves. Do you understand that? You're holding yourself under condemnation when you will not forgive yourself for past wrongs. Even if it's currently something that happened today. You have to forgive yourself. Don't beat yourself down so much, because I suffer with doing this too, so don't worry about it. When I speak things, I'm speaking to myself too. I'm not holier than thou. I'm no better than you are. I'm just a walking disciple of Christ. And I'm speaking of things that I deal with on the daily, that I have to change, that I have to learn. I've learned in this 2 years of healing from this last relationship. I'm trying to better myself. I'm trying to be a better version to see, a better version. And so I have to hold myself accountable for what I do, but I do not need to bask in past sorrows and past things. I need to give myself leniency when I make a mistake, because God forgives me, so I have to forgive myself. Because some of us, it's hard for us to forgive ourselves. We're not perfect. God don't expect us to be perfect. I don't care what anybody says. You know, my channel is a very good channel. And I'm not trying to brag myself up, but I really try to lead people in the right direction. But anyway, if there's anybody out there who has not been saved, I want to take this time to ask if you would ask Christ into your heart. And if you truly believe that Jesus died on the cross and that he arose from the dead 3 days later, then you're saved. Go find a non-religion church who speaks of the spiritual gifts and be baptized. But remember, baptism is not the true way to salvation. Inviting Christ into your heart is the true way to salvation. So until next time, peace, love, and I hope y'all have a blessed day.